Okay, what about if you could do as a runner exactly what you're doing right now, exactly the same volume, exactly the same number of hours per week, but you could get faster by making this small tweak? Most runners are missing out on one of the simplest ways to get stronger, faster, and more resilient. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to implement smart hill running and to make it one of the most effective tools for marathon performance or any distance running performance if you use it in the right way. I'm Grantham, a coach and professional ultra runner who went from running a marathon in 4 hours and 25 minutes to running a marathon in 2 hours and 21 minutes. And along the way, I became obsessed with an uphill race. And what that led to was me digging into detail and becoming the best possible uphill runner that I possibly could be. And along with other things, it massively improved the rest of my running. And if you're looking to take large chunks of time off your personal best and go way faster, then get in contact by booking a call in the link in the description. So we've got the training week. And for me, that looks like interval session Wednesday, long run, specific long run on Sunday, and then a couple of recovery runs, a couple of easy runs, and a nice rest day. We're not going to change any of that. And the session that is going to change slightly is the midweek interval session. And you can do this as often as every other week or every third week. So if your interval session was 6 times 1 kilometer, usually we're going to do exactly the same, 6 times 1 kilometer, but we're going to run that uphill. And I'm going to give you some really nice variations of how to get the very most out of your hill training sessions. But first, let's look at all the benefits. Some of them you will know, some of them will be new to you. Number one, hill training builds leg strength. It's going to build that glute strength, hamstring strength, the big power muscles, propelling you uphill against gravity. You're also going to build stronger calves, but the biomechanics are going to be improved. And then when you turn around and run downhill, that pounding on your quads running downhill, using your quads eccentrically, is helping to condition your quads so that you're ready for that final third in either a half marathon or a marathon. It's the closest thing to a superpower and the closest thing to a shortcut that you can get in running. Number two, uphill running improves running economy. Your body learns to recruit muscles more efficiently because you're going to need them to propel yourself running uphill. And that carries across to flat running too. So you're building a more running economical body that is able to run fast uphill yet and put that effort in, but it's all transferring across to your racing. Number three, it boosts your aerobic capacity. Imagine you could run as fast as you possibly could all the time without getting injured. So you could push your heart rate often on a regular basis as high as it possibly can do. That's going to build your aerobic capacity. It's pretty much exactly what you can do with hill running without the added injury risk of you running fast and pounding your muscles on the flat. Hill running is literally speed work in disguise. Number four, it teaches you to run downhill correctly. Now, this is where it gets important for us in the marathon and the half marathon, certainly in ultra marathon running. Most people neglect this area because I'm not going to do a race that's up and downhill, so why do I need to run downhill or uphill? I'm always going to train on the flat. So they're not getting that power and that improved biomechanics of running uphill, but they're also not getting the pounding on the quads, the conditioning of the quads of running downhill, which is also making you a better runner. You cannot run downhill because there's extra force generated and you're taking that on your quads. You cannot run downhill in the wrong way because you're going to get hurt. And so initially, you'll run uphill, turn around, jog downhill. Just condition the quads lightly. And then over the weeks, over the sessions, you'll realize that you can go slightly faster. But what you will realize is that if you overstride, it's going to put too much on the muscles, and either that will result in injury, or you'll just realize that you've got an inefficient technique. And so your cadence will speed up, the amount of steps you're taking in a minute will speed up, your stride length will come back to a manageable distance or a manageable length. So both running uphill and downhill is improving the way that we move over the ground, which again translates to flat running too. Number five, running uphill is going to improve your biomechanics. What do I mean by that? It's going to improve and build that stride power and drive. So you going uphill against gravity, you're gonna naturally become a better runner if you're executing the sessions properly, but you're also thinking about your game. And what happens, because we're human beings, we've got this tendency to find the shortcut. And in this case, running uphill, the shortcut is you being as efficient as possible at hitting the ground with your foot, so where you land on your foot and your toe off, and then engaging the big power muscles, the glutes and the hamstrings, because you need them in order to propel you uphill. As distance runners, we often don't sprint, but if you go out and sprint as fast as you possibly can, 100 meters, you'll realize that you're using your glutes much more. We need those engaged and working for us when we're running the entire distance of a marathon or an ultra marathon, a half marathon. We want the perfect running style. And so this strong push off, this knee drive and powerful arms driving all improves our uphill running, but also crosses over to flat running too. Number 6. Now, I know this sounds obvious, but hear me out and imagine how many people neglect this area, and therefore you've been in a marathon or a half marathon, you've got to a little hill, 2%, it's absolutely nothing. But people start to go backwards. They start to slow down as if it's Mount Everest. If you've been doing these regular sessions every 2 to 3 weeks, then not only are you strong at that point, you are moving forward through the field. And that's incredibly motivating to be in that position where it's hill running is a strength for you. Or what you can do in order to keep pace is put less effort in for the same pace as everybody else around you, and then you've got more energy to give in that final third of the race. I got to a point with my running because I was so focused on going uphill, and all I cared about was I want to be the fastest ever runner who can run 6% gradient for 50K. All of a sudden, in a half marathon or marathon, when it got hilly, Madrid Marathon's perfect example. Also, there's plenty of half marathons that are hilly or mountainous in the south of Spain. All of a sudden, I would leave people in the dust because it would just get a tiny gradient, and that would be my strong point. Number 7, it's going to improve you as a downhill runner. So it's going to improve your turnover, your cadence, your stride length is going to be manageable, so you're not putting too much on the muscles, you're using your heart and lungs still, and it's also going to improve your coordination. You will know, because of the extra force of running downhill and gravity is with you, that you don't want to land on your foot in the wrong place. And so in turn, you'll just become much more better at that transition between landing and toe off. And I do these on the road often, or a nice smooth buttery trail. But what you'll realize is you'll find the best place to land for your foot, and that will become instinctive. Number 8, builds mental toughness. Again, I know it's obvious. If we do 20 times 400 meters on the flat, pretty much the hardest session you can do in marathon training. If you try doing 20 times 300 meters uphill, it's just as tough. And you're gonna have a quarter, you're gonna have a halfway, you're gonna have the final half, and then the final quarter. And it's exactly the same as running a half marathon or a marathon. You're gonna have to dig in, grit your teeth, and get it done. And all the time, you're going to have those improved biomechanics. That's gonna come natural because as you get fatigued, you're gonna wanna take more shortcuts. And that shortcut, as I said before, is you running with proper form, engaging the glutes, pushing off properly, and really propelling yourself up the hill. And guess where that's gonna come in handy? In that final third of your race. Number 9, imagine you're doing all that work, you're putting all that into your training week, but now you're gonna attack those week, every single session, every single run, with increased balance, coordination, and muscle resilience. And so we're reducing injury risk, not just by doing that one session and it's away from flat, fast running, we're reducing the injury risk of all our running, which is improving your consistency, which is giving you more progress, which is gonna make you go further and faster. Number 10, how many times have you said or heard, oh, I hate running up hills? Imagine if that was your superpower and you absolutely love running uphill. Imagine if you could be in that place. If you think about it, when we're training, whether we're training for a marathon or a 5K, we're trying to become as efficient as possible, working at a set effort level that we can hold for the entire race. Imagine if you could get into that zone or get to that effort level without the risk of you running super fast over the flat. That's exactly what we're doing with hill running, and therefore it's easier for you to push the effort and get into the right zone, the right effort level. And so not only are we challenging the body, also creating variety in the training program, which is mixing things up a little bit, whilst at the same time being a superpower that will affect all of the rest of your training, so improve every single session that you're doing, and then improve your racing. Now, you can have as much fun as you want with these sessions, but essentially what we're doing is we're just replacing interval day with a hill interval session. That's all we're doing. And if you can run it up, if you've got access to this, if you can run it up and then down, as I said, you're not just going to get that power and performance increase, you're also going to condition the quads and the way that you run downhill, which is going to affect your flat running too. But 3 of my favorite sessions for hill running are 5 times 10 minutes going uphill. And so you're running long reps. And so for long periods of time, you're going up on a hill. If you've got access to a mountain or a hill, it's not always exactly the same gradient. And so you learn how to judge your effort for long periods of time, harder going uphill. Then what I'll do when I get to the top is turn around and do something like 10 times 5 minute going downhill. So I'm conditioning the quads for long periods of time going downhill. And for a race like Passatore, which I won in 2022, there cannot be a better workout than that, that's specifically working you as an uphill runner and conditioning the quads, improving your style as a downhill runner too. So Passatore is literally marathon flat at the end, more or less undulating, and then 10K up in the middle, 10K down in the middle. So that 5 times 10 minutes and then 10 times 5 minutes coming down is that middle 20K. Second session I love to do is just 20 times 1 minute going up. Now, it's difficult to judge like any 20 times 1 minute session, very, very difficult, short distances. You want to warm up properly, get your effort ready, get your pace in mind, and then attack it, attack the session. Always attack hills. And then realize that there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. That first 5 reps should feel quite comfortable. Perceived effort is relatively low compared to the final 5 reps. And what I will do after each rep is I'll just have 5-second breather. So slow down, decelerate, and then start running downhill. And initially, as I said, that will be a jog to condition your quads, and then it will get progressively quicker and my regular marathon pace after the first 6 to 8 weeks. So if you can get to a point when you're running downhill at marathon pace, your quads are gonna love you for it in that final third of your marathon. Third session I love is your very basic 6 times a kilometer. You know how that feels on the flat? It's a regular session. Do that uphill, 5-6% gradient, whether you're outdoors or indoors on a treadmill, and you can put exactly the same effort in for less risk going up because you're going against gravity. And then what I'll do is I'll turn around, so I'll either do 1 kilometer up, 1 kilometer down, but a better way I found, if you've got access to this length of hill, is to do 6 kilometers up with a minute rest in between, and then 6 kilometers down, or 12 times 500 meters down, whichever you feel comfortable with. And if you're starting off running downhill, I'd even consider you split that into 24 times 250 meters on the way down. And that nicely gives your quads a break every 1 to 2 minutes. So it doesn't matter whether you're running Boston, whether you're running a hilly course, or whether you're doing a flat marathon, this is going to provide so many benefits for you that will translate into the rest of your training, but also into your racing. So imagine your training now improves in efficiency. Your hill reps are going to build strength. They're going to sharpen your stride and also boost your endurance. And at the same time, this is exactly what we're looking for. They're making you mentally tougher. There are no downsides to running up and down hills. And if you want to see me run a specific hill rep session, here you go. And also a time trial uphill.